is good evening. Good evening, wherever you're following us. This is Africa 24 political discussion. Of course, we are here with one of the best political analysts we have in the country, East Africa, and also in the country of 254. So we welcome you wherever you are tuning so that you can talk about politics, so that you can discuss more about politics, so that you can enlighten our followers, we can enlighten Kenyans on what is happening in terms of politics, and also try to smoothen this country governance, because we know a lot of things are happening, a lot of issues are being raised by the Kenyans, a lot of concerns are being raised by Kenyans when it comes to the KK government. So I welcome you wherever you're joining us. This is Africa 24. Make sure you follow us in all social media platforms. Subscribe to Africa 24. Follow us in all social media platforms, and we'll be happy to have you here. Make sure you join this conversation through the link that I've shared there, and we will be happy to also invite you to the studio. Share with the other Kenyans your ideas, your views about what is happening when it comes to the governance of this country. Now, some of the top stories that we heard today is the reshuffling of the cabinet. How many times is the Kenya Kwanza government is going to reshuffle the cabinet? That is the question that we're asking. Also, we are having issues being raised. Why do you have this reshuffling? We saw CS Muturi, he was fired today, and of course, he was replaced immediately. What does this tell us? It tells us that anything can happen in this country when it comes to the politics. And we are going to discuss some of the issues that are being raised by Kenyans, because we are seeing a lot of things happening anytime change of leadership positions, which is something which is, of course, contributing to leaders also being neglected, because someone will see this as a passing time, like you is just there, next time you will be demoted or you'll be given another chance, because Deborah Barasa was given the cabinet secretary for health just the other day. Today, she has also been transferred to the forest. We have the new CS for health, that is Aden Duale. Also, we have the IEBC. After Chebukati, now we are looking forward to getting another IEBC chairman or chairwoman. I have Chris here. Chris is one of ours. Of course, he has been long, and I want him to tell us where he has been. Long time we have not seen him, and then he give us his overview about the current situation of this country. What he thinks this country is doing. Is the country going in the right direction, or we are going in the wrong direction? Karibu sana Chris, na utuchambulie siasa kwanza, utuambie ukoaje na mambo ipepe.
Thank you Bonnie. Nimeshukuru sana, it has been a while. I missed you guys. Of course, Africa is the place to be. It has been quite some time. Lakini Bonnie, ukiona mtu amepotea sana akirudi, jua kuna mazuri mengi.
Alafu mazuri ni mengi.
Because in Kenya, especially in the political arena, everything changes every time, has a different story, and now we can see the neglect in the Mount Kenya region, the reshuffle of the cabinet ministers. We have seen Barasa being reinstated to forestry. Many things are unfolding, and that speaks a lot about what we intend to see, especially as we approach the 2027 election.
Now, Chris, we are having today, the major thing that happened today is the reshuffling of the cabinet. Tell us what you think. Is President confused, or he is just being given names of people who are incompetent? After what we saw today, the other day we saw reshuffling, today we saw reshuffling, the other day we saw reshuffling of the permanent secretaries. What is really happening? What is your take about this? How do you weigh it?
It's a very confusing situation, especially for a government that promised a lot for the people of this country. At times, it's very disappointing to see a government that promised people affordable health care, keeping on reshuffling cabinet secretary to fit in interests that at the end of the day happen to puncture more the common mwananchi. A government that promised a lot about the affordable housing projects, a government that its manifesto was full of promises. And we can see clearly that it's a government, it's a regime that is struggling to deliver even the smallest of their promises. And what I can tell you, Bonnie, is you can compare this government to a team that is not well stable, and the coach is really trying to fit in different players at different positions, at least to make sure or to attain a certain result. But you can see this team has a lot of problems because there is incompetence in the appointment of the cabinet secretaries. Because there is loyalty. We have seen loyalty playing a very critical role in this reshuffle, because you have seen Barre Duale being taken to defense and then to environment and now to health. That speaks a lot. And then you can see the reshuffle of the cabinet secretaries who are being endorsed by the broad-based faction of the Baba entourage. We can see a government that is desperate to fit in everybody so that it can be politically relevant in a way. And we have seen a reshuffle in a government that doesn't need questions, especially the question regarding the killing of young people, the abductions of young people. That's why you have seen today CS Muturi has been sacked because of raising questions and questioning the government. But Bonnie, you can as well remember one time we said in this forum that it's William Ruto who once said that the only way to be legitimate in this government is to criticize the same government you are in. But the problem with this William Ruto is he doesn't want to be criticized. But during his tenure as the VP, as the deputy president, he used to criticize Uhuru Kenyatta's regime, yet he was in the same government. But it's happening in a different shoe, when the shoe is on a different leg, and he now doesn't want criticism. He doesn't want opposition that is opposing whatever he decides. So it's a bad state of affairs, especially for a democratic country, a country that has fought for democracy for all over these years, to start experiencing such, especially at this time.
Yes. Of course, Muturi was sacked, and also we have seen the same way you said loyalty is being rewarded in this situation. Duale has been rotating from one position to the other. He came from defense, forest, environment, now to health. You have seen even Chipukizi, Vincent Mutua, that guy from Mukambani. Now he has been given the deputy director for events in the state house. You know, those are the close friends who were having that support when it comes to the president during 2022. You have seen how it is happening. You have seen how leaders are being given this position. Do you think that the president also needs to listen to what Kenyans are saying? Because personally, I think from today, even that Bere leader who was given that position for PS, public service, I think people are questioning about his credibility.
I've worked with the president before as a foot soldier in an event, especially in the last campaigns. And I can tell you, the only language the president understands is loyalty. There's no any other language that the president understands. That's why you can see somebody like Duale, who has zero knowledge on health. He can be rewarded as a healthy CS so that to protect the interest of the president. You know, you see, at a time when Kenya needed a leader, it's Aden Duale, who was then CS Defense, who ordered the enforcement of the Kenya Defense Forces for the Gen Zs, the young people of this country. Aden Duale has been a foot soldier of William Ruto since the URP formation, when he was the Garissa Township MP. And in my own opinion, is the president feels safe under Aden Duale than any other. And you can see Duale will start protecting the shisha thing. He'll make the shisha maybe work or not work, but he'll do everything to make sure the government is very comfortable with it. And I think the only language that the president understands is loyalty. That's why you can see, unlike Raila Amolo Odinga, who was come into this broad-based government with a lot of technocrats, especially in the latest appointments of the PSS, President William Ruto doesn't reward competency. That's why you saw in his first time he nominated CS Mithika Linturi as agriculture CS, and you saw the outcome. He rewarded Aisha Jumwa, PS Public Service, and you saw the outcome. It's all about loyalty rather than competence, and that's where the rain starts beating us.
Loyalty, but now this loyalty now is giving Kenyans a lot of problems, because you remember even during the time when we had Mithika Linturi, we had a lot of issues when it comes to the agriculture department, a lot of fake fertilizers being circulated in the country. You also had issues when it comes to the Ministry of Health when we had Susanna Kumicha. Does it mean that the president, also the circle that surrounds the president, also they are not also giving him the quality service when it comes to the governance? Because, you know, as a president, you are surrounded by a lot of people who give ideas on how to govern the country. Do you really believe that also the people who are around the president also are leading Kenya to the wrong direction?
Bonnie, it's Mashafeli who said once that show me the people around the leader, and I can tell you the type of a leader he is. I can tell you the president himself has more than 50 advisors, but he's the one who advises the advisors. And you can't advise William Ruto. And the last person to advise William Ruto is CS, who was sacked today. And that's why many people feel that they cannot talk to the king head on. They can't talk exactly what is happening on the ground directly to the president, because they feel like they fear the president. That's one. President William Ruto is feared most than how he is being loved. That makes people around him fear him, so that even if something is wrong on the ground, they cannot dare tell him this is wrong. That's why when the Gen Zs protested in June to demand for the dropping of the finance bill, instead of William Ruto taking bold steps to bring sanity into the system, he took the whip for himself. He sacked all the people who had helped him clinch the seat, the presidency, and then he invited his enemies. He now started working with his enemies, the likes of Raila Amolo Odinga. And that's why we can see, instead of fixing the mess, he used that opportunity to extend his plans and ambition for the 2027 election. The realignment we are seeing today is not all about delivering to the people. It's a realignment that will make sure the president is going to come back stronger in the 2027 general election, Bonnie. I can tell you clearly, the realignment, the broad-based whatever, the bringing in or whatever, and the development tours that he pretends to be visiting different parts of this country, it's not about development. It's about realigning himself for the 2027 general election. That's why, Bonnie, I'm telling you, as Kenyans, we should never expect anything good from this government as it is now, because it's a government that is full of pride and pomposity, arrogance at its top level. The killing of Gen Z, the abductions are top-notch. In fact, the only thing that we should expect from this government is more reshuffle and more sackings in the coming days as we enter into 2027 general election.
We are doing reshuffling until when? You know, you are saying we will expect another reshuffling, and we know that we are in 2025. We have 2026 now to. Of course, we are close to 2027. So we are going to have this reshuffling for the first term.
Yes, definitely, because there is going to be mass walkout from the government, because people feel the government is illegitimate. It's doing the wrong thing. It's not ready to accept the mistakes. In fact, it's a government that has decided to go head on with the people instead of listening to the people. That's why you can see there's been a gamble in the Mount Kenya region, whereby the president invited all Mount Kenya members of parliament to State House to strategize on how he'll visit the mountain in the coming weeks. But the ground is slippery. He had to rethink about it. That's why you can see the sacking of budget committee chair Ndindi Nyoro, a person, a spanner boy for the president who helped him clinch the top seat. But you can see the outcome is different. Many people, especially from the mountain, are going to walk out of this government because the ground is slippery and the people are not going to listen to lies anymore. So the president has to re-strategize. And this one first strategy is to force masses and to force people to attend his meetings in the region, which will be slippery in the coming weeks. So he has to force, the only thing he has is to look for ways to fix chair IEBC and then force the chair to declare him as the president 2027. But remember, the first people who are going to be accountable for this election are the young people, the Gen Zs who will be at the ballot station tallying votes. These are the young people, and it will make it hard for William Ruto to steal votes. That's why you will see a dictatorship coming in.
Yes, Gen Z are going to Gen Z are going to determine 2027 general elections, of course. But do you think with this kind of the issues that we are seeing, of course, the cabinet reshuffling that we have been seeing, the permanent secretary is being reshuffled, and also Kenyans complaining about the Kenya Kwanza governance when it came to power in 2022. Do you think that even Kenyans are going to re-elect the president also for the next 5 years? Because you heard him saying that they are going to make a change in this country. They are going to make Kenya move ahead for the next 5 years. So it means that he has a lot of trust that 2027 is going to clinch 2027 general elections. Are Kenyans also going to cast their votes for William Ruto in 2027?
William Ruto is not going to get any vote, and is going to use all the crooked means to remain in power, which will not work. In fact, we'll bring in somebody, especially from the region I come from. The song that is being sung every day, everywhere, is none other than Fred Okengo Matiang'i. Fred Okengo Matiang'i, who was sent all the state house back to the drawing board, wanting the presidency. The first people who will go to the voting, to the ballot to vote, are the students who did exams in the era of Fred Okengo Matiang'i, and they are the first people who will vote for the presidency of Fred Okengo Matiang'i. Because for the first time, Kenyans are opening up their eyes and they are saying that we don't want politicians in this presidency. We need a leader who is accountable. In fact, it is not the first time we are not knowing William Ruto. We are not just new in Jerusalem. We just proved that he's a pathological liar. He has been lying since the YK 92, and this is the last chance he was given by the Kenyans, and they have seen it. It is now clear that William Ruto is the liar that we have never seen in this country.
You see, William Ruto is the liar that we have not seen in this country. I have my good friend here, Giovanni. Giovanni, karibu sana. Now, Giovanni, we have seen today what happened. Reshuffling of the cabinet secretaries happened today. CS Muturi was fired. The other day we saw reshuffling of the permanent secretaries also. The other day we saw the reshuffling of the cabinet. It has been a norm in this country since the Kenya Kwanza government took over the leadership in 2022. What is your take about this reshuffling? Does it mean that president is being surrounded by people who does not know what they are doing? Because these are decisions that you cannot make on your own. You have to consider some people who are close to you. Does it mean that also the president also is getting confused on who is going to choose when it comes to these top positions like being a cabinet secretary? Bearing in mind some of the ministries that we have in this country are very sensitive, like the Ministry of Education, Health, and also ministries that really consider human survival. Does it mean that the president is confused? What is your take about today's actions? And a duality to the cabinet to be the cabinet secretary for the Ministry of Health?
Bonnie, how are you?
Good.
It's been long. Where did you go to?
Nakuanga. Show wewe na ndio kujangi kwa show.
Kuna we have been around na kina Leo na nani, and the show has not been around. How many times have I entered the studio and you have not been around? Nasema inapata tu giza.
Inakuanga imeisha.
Hapana. You know, funnily, politics, it should be played by politicians. We read too much into politics, but it is the way it is. There's nothing much. There are no intrigues. There are no hidden cards. It's just the way it is. The way it is, that the way it is. Muturi was not in the proper cards and in the proper relationship with his boss. He had to go. How he had to go, it was a matter of time, decided by the appointing powers. I don't read much into Muturi. What I just read about, what I can read through the lines is Muturi understood early on that he had no say within the concept of Kenya Kwanza government, and by extension, any growth and there's nothing that is going to come out of UDA. That is one. Two, there is nothing that is not going to is going to gain from UDA. So he decided to play his cards and decided to go away and move away. He decided he knew that he had already broken ranks with Ruto. So there was nothing that he's going to do or say that is going to cross ranks between him and Ruto early on, even before he was before he was appointed the CS. I think back then when he was just the AG, he realized that Ruto had just appointed him to be there just as a proxy, nothing more, with no powers. He was just he should have been just a yes man. And then he looked forward and he realized that anytime, any day, it could be a casualty. So when he was retained back as a CS, the things that he thought, the thing that he presumed to be true actually became the truth, because by extent now, that is when he realized he had even lesser powers than when he was the AG. He was just there as just a proxy, or someone just as a stooge to be, or just like a pawn to be used and expended. So what he decided to do is to make a name for himself. The politicians are like cockroaches, my brother. They know how to survive. And they that is their game. People like Muturi have been in this game. He has been the MP of Embu for, I think, for more than close to 15 years or 20 years before he was appointed to be the speaker. Hello?
Yes, loud and clear. Yes.
And even after the speaker, he reigned in the speaker position for 10 years with no opposition. And he was one of the most lackluster speakers we've ever had in our nation for a very long time. I remember even back in the times of Kinamoi, one Kaparo was more energetic, more appealing, and he was living. He was a speaker at the time when we had a one-party system. You could see that the man, in as much as he was getting orders from the president, he had also his own mind. He was able to balance all those dynamics. But come to Muturi, he was just there. The man, even when he speaks, he does not exude confidence. He is, I won't say he's a dimwit, but I'll say he's a lackluster, lackadaisical. All those mild names you can apportion to a person, you should apportion them to Bendan Muturi. I have no love lost to Muturi. He is doing a good job for us when he is attacking Ruto, because any attack on Ruto is a plus for us, the people who are on the ground. However, when he realized that he is going to be a casualty, because nobody was going to appoint him to a CS position come 2027. Nobody was going to appoint him to be an MP or even any strong position within the government, or even a governor, or even an MP, or even a senator. Even in Embu, he was going to be a foregone conclusion. He saw it far, and he realized that, why don't I use this position of my son being adopted and make a name for myself? He is a bright man, but as I spoke to you and as I told you, he is a cockroach. Most of these people are cockroaches, Those politicians, they are cockroaches. They just know how to survive. They survive today, they survive tomorrow, with or without water, they will survive. How many politicians do you think by the time we are hitting 2027 will have already washed themselves anew, and they'll be having new tags and being the redeemer of our nation? Just wait and see. You'll see many of them. Muturi is just one among many. So for me, I can only say that between him and Ruto, it was just a matter of chess movement, pawns movement, pieces. Everyone was moving up his piece at a time. And Ruto realized the father is going to play this game. It is not playing to his benefit. It is playing. It is playing to his own doom. So he decided, just like Machiavelli once said, that whenever you postpone a fight, you postpone it to your own disadvantage. Ruto is also a schemer, just like Muturi. Muturi is a very wily schemer. Every time he just knows how to survive. And I'm telling you, come 2027, he'll still be in government, or he'll be in parliament, or he'll be the governor of Embu. Just watch properly, watch step by step how this guy is doing, how he is moving. Because as of now, Barire is a very unpopular leader within Embu. Any person right now who stands his worth is able to remove that woman by saa tatu asubuhi. So Muturi knows all those dynamics and he is playing them accordingly, just like a chess master. The guy is a total cockroach. So for me, I'm not reading too much. This was an eventuality. It was bound to happen. Both of them were playing cards. Both of them were just playing to the gallery. There is nothing good. Muturi is not genuine. Ruto, neither is Ruto. So for us, we shouldn't even be talking about Muturi. We should be talking about other things, because Muturi is, for me, is a non-starter. He will never. By far, maybe it might take us from point A to point A. Thank you.
Yes, Muturi now has been sacked by the president. We don't have Muturi now is at home, together with other members now being displaced to other positions, the likes of Aden Duale. Duale has been given one of the sensitive ministries that we have in this country. He has been given the Minister of Health. Minister of Health is very sensitive. Deborah Barasa was there. We had Susan Nakumicha. From Susan Nakumicha, we had Deborah Mulongo Baraza. From Baraza, we have Aden Duale. This reshuffling, do you think Giovanni, President reshuffling these ministries, of course, is a sign of failure? Is it a sign of failure?
I think you should refrain that question, and it should ask, is it a failure on the part of us Kenyans? It's not a failure of Ruto. But I believe that we should not entirely apportion blame to just Ruto. We should apportion blame to all of us as a nation. Have we failed? Have we failed as a nation? Because it has to start with how with our mental faculties, our mental acuity. Are we that dim? Are we that stupid? Are we cast as a nation? Because how come we keep bringing back corrupt leaders? I was watching a clip by Ruto where he was saying that makosa, nyinyi mnasema mko na makosa na Wakikuyu. Nyinyi hamuna makosa mingi na Wakikuyu kama sisi wa Kalenjin, lakini makosa tuwezi tatua. Kwanza lazima tuchukue usukani na uchukue serikali, ndio wakati ule umechukua serikali ndio utakuwa na. That clip was going around all those 5 years when Ruto declared he's going to run for president in all the constituencies of Kenya, where every Kikuyu was able to see that clip. And this is what the Bible talks about, small things and big things. It says that whoever who is faithful in little is able is faithful in much. So one thing I can tell you for surety is Can you give me a minute just to finish up something with
yes,
mtoto hapa?
Yes, no problem Giovanni. We have mzalendo karibu sana bwana. Umeacha kuendesha magari. Sasa uko ndani ya bonge la show. Umeona what happened today? Cabinet reshuffling. What do you have to say about this? Is it a sign of failure as Kenyans or as the government? What do you have to say? Government failed or Kenyans failed during 2022 general election? Or the people who are surrounding the president are the one who are advising him in the wrong way?
Thank you, Bonnie, and a good evening to our viewers wherever they are. One thing I want to tell you is that the Kenyan political system is something that needs to be discussed. People don't understand what is happening, and they think it is just by choice. But the system that William Ruto is doing is what has been done since independence. To me, I call it the patronage system, where the president calls the shots. Now, in this kind of system, historically, you will see the president firing somebody from a particular community that he doesn't like, then gives the job to the same community. That is what happened to Muturi. Muturi has been a member of parliament in Mbere, and the person who has replaced him is his member of parliament in that capacity. So the cabinet CS is now more senior than Muturi, and was an MP in that particular area. So this is what will happen. So the president technically has divided that community politically, meaning that those who are aligned to Muturi will be supporting Muturi's agenda against William Ruto, and those who are for the new CS will also be aligning to his agenda. That is what is called patronage politics. Now, what does it do to democracy? It kills the spirit of democracy. It kills it completely. And what is happening in Kenya today is the broad-based scam, where we have the minority coming in government and the majority joining hands in government. It kills the spirit of multi-party democracy. The minority should be checking on the government, but for William Ruto's reshuffle, it is what we have been saying on the social platform. It is the awareness that we have been creating about SHA and the noise that we have been making about the inefficiency and the incompetence of government. That is the reason why these reshuffles are happening. So Kenyans, let us not get tired. Whatever is happening is for the good cause of the country. It is for efficiency, is some of it, but largely it is to manage the politics of certain areas, especially the area of Mount Kenya. So we will be witnessing a lot of this, reshuffles. And I joked today that I will not be surprised, and I've been saying it time and again, that William Ruto might forget and even appoint Rigathi Gachagua into his cabinet. That can easily happen in the near future. So the patronage politics is to diffuse and try to get the ethnic backing of particular communities. So our politics is still deeply rooted in ethnicity. So what the president is doing is balancing the ethnic conflict in our politics and managing it in the best way that he knows. Yeah, thank you.
Yes, Zalendo is trying to say that president is dividing those areas in the right way so that anyone who is supporting Muturi will support Muturi. Now the new member also, they will support the new member. Jovan, do you agree that what Mzalendo is saying, that now that area has been divided politically?
I disagree. I disagree. Hello?
Yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Continue.
Yeah.
Why do you disagree?
Why I'm disagreeing? Why I'm disagreeing, and Mzalendo knows. Kikuyus, and in particular, no, Mount Kenyan in particular, the tribes around the Mount Kenya region, basically they usually align themselves within one entity and behind one force. They vote as a block, they disinvoke as a block. So that's the same thing that happens in it also plays out in Kikuyu. We only have two regions, let's say like 3 regions, who usually vote en bloc, and that's the Nyanza, the Mount Kenya, and Rift Valley. But Rift Valley sometimes is broken, but let's say the Kalenjin, we call them the Kalenjin, because Rift Valley there's a lot of other tribes, in particular the Kikuyus are there, the Luyas are there. So why I'm disagreeing is because it's just some few months ago, or maybe some weeks ago, when, if you recall, there was a problem. That was in Embu. Okay, I know Embu is also divided into 2 constituencies. Majorly, there is 3. There is Runyenje, so there is the upper Embu and there is the lower Embu. The lower Embu is the Mbere. Dedan comes from the little known Beres, but also Beres identify with themselves with Embu. So unless you become so strong, there is a strong, like what you can say, Babu Owino is strong in the Luo. He may be strong, but also there is that element of Babas. So in as much as he also wants to stand out as his own man, there is an extent that he cannot be able to become. So unless you become, but he has performed, unless you become a very good performer within your people, and that cannot happen as a one-timer MP. That has to happen if you are consistent, you've been like 20 years and you've been a performer. People can stand back and say no. But also, if you remember Mzalendo and Boni, there are people like Kamodo. Kamodo did so much for Madioya. They did exemplarily, but when it came to voting, they were voted out within huge differences. So what I can say, why nakatana nayo Mzalendo is, your viewpoint might appear like it is so, but it is not going to shake the mountain. The Embus now, Kenyans by extent, even the Kalenjins, they don't want Ruto. So it's not about Kikuyu. Now, by extent, within the Kikuyu, it's not about the Mount Kenya, it's not about the Kikuyu. It's about what is happening on the ground. If Ruto was popular on the ground, that could be not only even about that Roko guy, But I'm telling you, even the vice president himself, I don't think he is popular. If uchaguzi inaweza itwa sahi, as of now, I don't think anaweza pata less than anaweza pata more than 30%, even from his own place ile ametoka Tharaka Nithi. He is from Tharaka Nithi, si ndio?
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, in the Mount Kenya region, there isn't much you can say. There isn't much you can talk about and say that this is going to happen, and that is not going to happen. It's a gone conclusion. We have already hao watu waligura kitambo, waligura wote na wakabakisha, I think ni mifupa tu. So whatever Ruto is doing, he's just doing to appear to look like he's okay, and then diaweze kupata tukura kidogo pale. He is not stupid. He knows if he can be able to muscle himself up and get maybe like 1 million within the Mount Kenya region, just like what Baba got, and then aanze kupiga hesabu za Wajaluo. I know Luos, kupiga hesabu na Waluos, it's a tricky venture, because these are people who can be with you today, tomorrow wanagura wote asubuhi, you know. They are not like Kikuyus are consistent. They can stand with you and stand with you until the end. Luos, my friend, they are always with you up to a certain moment. Wakiamuka tu asubuhi and they decide, my friend, they are moving out. They'll move out, hata wana move mpaka na makuku na makondo. So for me, it's just a matter of time before something else happens.